What about politics?
Yeah. Well, do you think that we as Christians should be engaged in politics?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, at least I think we should be definitely engaged in terms of what's actually going on, not necessarily because there's a difference between being engaged in politics and like actually voting and being engaged in what's actually happening. And I mean, I definitely think as Christians, like if we want to see bills for pro-life stuff be put in place, like we gotta actually vote for it and not just sit around complaining. So
right. And we gotta support people and who are running for office and help get out the vote and do things that don't contradict our Christian beliefs. And yet we gotta pray, obviously, but we also need to take action. But I also think that as Christians, it's important for us to know what we're talking about, on any issue or on given issues, that we are familiar with both sides of the issue. Do you ever get the voters pamphlet? I don't know if you've looked at them. They come out. Okay. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
voters pamphlet?
I get them.
All right. So one of the things I'm always intrigued by is that I open it up and I look at those who are in favor of something, those who are opposed. I like to see the reasons for and against whatever the issue might happen to be. I like to see who's in favor of it. Who are the people on the committee that put it together. And I think that it's important that for any issue that we know both sides of the story. And with our federal or countrywide politics, I think it's important that we know the history of on both sides. Again, because everyone's got a side and everyone's got a perspective, and some who are saying we ought to do this or no, we can't do that. And, well, why? What are the reasons? And be willing to look at not only the material put together by the people on your side of the political scale, but also look at the information brought out by the people on the other side of the political scale.
Yeah.
So that you're kind of getting an idea of what the issues are and how they word them and how that they work it. And I think that we as Christians, it's important for us, if we're going to be involved in politics, that we know what we're talking about. On the issues, we need to know the history of our country. Everyone's a constitutional scholar about certain things, except that their knowledge is like this deep.
Yeah. And
they read the history that they like to read, that agrees with their position, as opposed to the other. The thing about our founding fathers, is great as a system they put together, some of them were real scoundrels.
Yeah.
They all had flaws. I mean, no one was a saint. They're just like people today, except they were pretty bright back then. And so, you got to be honest with who they are and where they are and what their culture was and the flaws in the system at the time, the flaws that we have nowadays. But I think we need to recognize when politics and ideas and concepts, when they align with Scripture or biblical principles, and when they do not. And when they do not, I need to not be in favor of it. I need to be opposed to that. And as a leader, I need to be able to speak out to those issues. And I usually lose some people when I do. Probably will continue to. But that's just part of it. And I try not to be rude. I try not to be unkind. I don't try to be offensive purposely towards people. But if someone says, I can't be in favor of that because I believe that that's not biblical, like I am pro-life because I think that, killing babies is wrong. And I have just enough scientific background to say, yeah, that's not right. So, but if that doesn't agree with people's ideology, they're going to write you off and
Yeah.
and throw you away. So I think it's important that we need to keep that in mind. I think it's also important that we realize that God doesn't have a favorite political party.
What?
That as much as it's interesting when you look at history. You'll look at World War II, especially Europe. The Nazis tried to wrap God around their politics.
Yeah.
We all want to wrap God because that's puts us on the winning side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's always, that's where I say, understanding history is helpful, because you can
compare anyone to Nazis.
Well, no, but I mean it's how that you can align yourself. Well, it's Civil War.
Yeah.
The North, the South, they all thought that they were fighting for God.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Someone's right, someone's wrong.
As we're killing each other.
Yeah.
And then in the Middle East, the Muslims and the Jews, they all believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
A lot
Muslims, of messiness there.
Well, Muslims think that they're killing the Jews in the name of God.
Mm-hmm.
No. So there's some ugliness that goes on there. So we got to be careful about that. For me, I like to think that I'm a Christian first, then I'm an American, and then I have my political leanings one way or the other. So, so then I always try to figure out, okay, God, what do you want me to do?
Okay.
You're easy to please.
I'll let you know when I'm like, wrong, calling you out.
We need something like the Gong Show. I don't know if you ever knew what the Gong Show was. The Gong Show was this thing where it was kind of a variety show. People come out.
It's pre-2003.
It's very much pre-2003. But it was a variety show. Well, it's kind of like America's Got Talent, but with a different. Instead of pushing the buzzer and eliminating people, they had a big gong, and if they didn't like it, they'd hit the gong, and people would be eliminated that way. So, the Gong Show, not a real brilliant concept, but it captured a moment in history and time.
There's a title, so
there you go, educating you. So.